The stars were silent. The day Earth burned. It began with flashing lights in the sky, first mistaken for comets, then for satellites. But they were neither. They were ships, Xerinth warships. They came from another side of the galaxy. Giant, smooth, glowing, black steel that shimmered like oil under sunlight. They didn't send a warning. They didn't speak. They just fired. Cities were wiped out in seconds. New York, Beijing, Cairo, gone in red fire and blue light. People screamed, ran, hid, prayed. And above it all, the Xerinth laughed. "This is Earth?" said one commander in a broadcast to his homeworld. "They live in dust and wires. They wear cloth and metal. Their sky is unguarded. Their people are slow. This is not a war. This is cleanup." The galaxy watched and agreed. Many races had feared the Xerinth. Now they saw what Earth truly was. Weak, simple, easy. A place with no fleets, no shields, no hope. But deep under the Rocky Mountains, a woman named Alara Voss opened her eyes. She had once been a soldier, a strategist, a survivor of 3 colony wars. Now, she was in charge of nothing. Until today. The bunker she sat in had been built 80 years ago. A last resort shelter. Inside were old maps, broken machines, and a box labeled Protocol Omega. She opened it. Inside, one black box, one chip, one handwritten note. Only if Earth falls. She placed the chip into the console. The lights turned red, and something woke up. Across Earth. Old satellites blinked. Missile silos turned online. Dust-covered defense drones rebooted. AI systems hidden for decades opened their eyes again. The world that looked broken started to move. The Xerinth didn't notice at first. They were too busy recording themselves stepping on Earth flags. They made trophies of human helmets. They kicked over statues. "This species makes fine sport," one captain said. He kicked. Opened the door of a school. Even their children screamed so sweetly. He didn't notice the blinking light above the door. He didn't hear the hum in the floor. He didn't feel the heat under his boots until the walls exploded. A flash. Then silence. Then the screams of alien soldiers burning alive from a camera. Drone in orbit. Someone watched the explosion. Alara Voss. She leaned forward, speaking into a mic that connected to nothing the Xerinth could trace. "You called us weak. You thought we had forgotten how to fight. You've made a mistake." The galaxy started whispering. "Earth is still standing? How did they do that? Didn't they lose everything?" But now, things were changing. In Tokyo's ruins. Humans gathered underground, guided by a voice on hacked alien signals. In the jungles of South America. An old solar-powered tank rolled again, operated by farmers who once grew rice. In space. A single unmanned Earth satellite spun toward a Xerinth destroyer and exploded. No warning. No negotiation. Just fire. The Xerinth grew quiet. One of their fleet commanders watched a live feed of a human child throwing a rock at a patrol drone, and the drone exploding from an old Earth counterhack virus. He whispered, "They're learning." But it wasn't learning. It was remembering. Humans had fought before. Humans had suffered before. Humans had survived everything. And now, they would not beg. They would strike. One of the last scenes in Part 1. A Xerinth cruiser finds a human distress signal. They land near a broken town. Nothing moves. Dead, they say. But under the soil, eyes open. 10 human survivors crawl out with sharpened weapons. And one of them looks into the sky and says, "You thought Earth was easy. Let's see how you scream." The Xerinth Empire had never lost a war. Not once. Their weapons were cleaner. Their ships faster. Their soldiers stronger. So when Earth fought back, they didn't panic. They called it luck. Glitches. Accidents. until the numbers started to grow. In just 3 days. 17 patrol drones were destroyed. 6 troop carriers exploded mid-air. 1 Xerinth supply ship went missing and was later found, torn apart by homemade bombs. Still, the generals smiled. We expected resistance. It will pass. But they didn't understand. Humans weren't resisting. They were tracking. Hook. First 5 to 7 minutes. A Xerinth destroyer called. Skullblade hovered over the ruins of old Texas. Smoke drifted from the broken cities below. No heat signatures. No life signs. Scan complete, said the pilot. Clear. Nothing left. The captain nodded. Begin collection sweep. We'll take samples. 6 scout ships launched from the cruiser, scanning craters, flipping metal. Sheets, marking skeletons. But underneath one hill. An old, rust-covered door opened silently. Inside. Darkness, then lights, then a voice. Welcome back, soldier. Operation Red Sky reactivated. Cold War weapons came to life. Old missiles turned to track signals. Satellites, once considered junk, linked together into a net. Suddenly, the Skullblade's controls flashed red. Sir, we're being painted by too late. 12 missiles launched from abandoned silos, 200 miles apart. Each hit the Skullblade. From a different angle. It didn't fall. It folded inward, breaking into itself like a can crushed by invisible hands. Xerinth Command was stunned. That tech is centuries old. They shouldn't even know how to fire those. But Earth did. Because Earth didn't throw anything away. In a forest bunker in Ukraine. Commander Ilara Voss listened to old frequencies. She looked calm, but her eyes were tired, haunted. How many? She asked. A voice answered, 15. Confirmed kills. 0 captured. 2 enemy ships down. Civilian losses? Minimal. Locals evacuated before strike. Ilara exhaled slowly. They still think we're weak. Let them. Meanwhile, in orbit, another Xerinth team tried to land near an old power plant. Easy mission. Low danger. Or so they thought. The moment their boots touched the ground, static hit their comms. Then, a whistling sound, and then a minefield, but not an ordinary one. These were smart. Mines rebuilt by engineers from scrap parts, and reprogrammed with Xerinth DNA markers. Only, the aliens triggered them. Human soldiers watched from the hills, didn't fire, didn't move, just watched. And waited. That same night, a broadcast spread through unprotected Xerinth channels. Not music, not threats. Just an old human voice. You came to break us, but we bend. You came to burn us, but we rise. You called us prey, but we are wolves. Across space stations, this message played again and again. Xerinth morale began to shake. For the first time in their proud history, some refused to fight. One of their war scientists, Dr. Krillvack, stared at a map glowing red with lost territories. Isn't resistance, he said softly. The general beside him scoffed. What is it then? Dr. Krillvack looked up slowly. It's revenge. Closing scene of Part 2. In a city under the Himalayas, survivors gathered in tunnels. Children drew earth. Flags on the walls. Mothers told stories of ancient warriors. Soldiers reassembled. Weapons from broken parts. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. They trained. Because Earth had learned one final truth. If the galaxy won't protect us, we'll protect ourselves. The Xerinth Empire ruled 200 worlds. They had destroyed fleets, broken rebellions, silenced billions. But now, they were afraid of ghosts. Human ghosts. Hook. First 5 to 7 minutes. At the Xerinth Academy of War, students trained with pride. 1. Evening, during a live class on Earth's invasion, the screens lit up. The instructor froze. Unauthorized signal detected. Suddenly, every screen showed the same human face. Old, burned, missing one eye. He stared, unmoving. Then his voice echoed across the room. "We warned you once. You did not listen. Now your children will study silence." Across the stars, human. Sabotage began quietly. Power grids failed. Weapon systems refused to fire. Military bases locked down from the inside. No alarms. No ships seen. No lives spared. Only one mark left behind, painted in red. "We're still here." At first, the Zeranth blamed each other. Spies. Traitors. Rebels. But deep down, they knew the truth. It was the humans. The galaxy starts watching news. Channels once mocking Earth began to ask questions. How did Earth strike back? Why didn't we know? Are we next? Civilians in distant empires whispered. They say humans live underground now. They say they can control. Machines with their minds. They say their rage never sleeps. Aliens who once laughed now turned off their screens. Even worse, Zeranth soldiers began to break. One patrol team, sent to secure a ruined Earth bunker, was found hours later alive. But shaking their captain kept whispering over and over. It was just a child. And she smiled before she blew up the whole canyon. Psychological warfare begins. Earth didn't fight with fleets, no. They fought with fear. They hijacked music channels, replacing songs with old Earth War speeches. They interrupted broadcasts with images of burning cities, followed by the same sentence. "This is what you made. This is what we became." They didn't show ships. They didn't show soldiers. Only the result. And that was enough. At a Galactic Council meeting, leaders from nearby systems argued, we should pull support from the Zeranth. Let Earth burn itself out. There. Just humans. But then one representative stood and whispered, if they're just humans, why are we all shaking? Even the enemy cracks inside a Zeranth base, orbiting a desert moon. General Volkar looked at a map of red zones areas where contact with Earth forces had been lost. 37 zones gone, 5 in one day. He stood silently before his officers and said, we did not fight prey. We awoke predators. Meanwhile, in a forgotten mountain bunker on Earth, Commander Ilara Voss watched as her people sharpened old blades. There were no cheers, no speeches, only firelight and silence. Above them, Athena the human war AI spoke softly. They fear us now. Let fear do the work. Closing scene of Part 3 on the moon city of Zereth 6. A boy walked past a burned mural dot. It used to show a Zeranth warrior crushing Earth. Now, someone had painted over it. In black dot in the center was a rough drawing of a human skull, and beneath it, words in shaky alien writing. Please, don't come here. The fear had spread. The galaxy now understood. You can invade Earth. You can bomb Earth. But you cannot kill what survives. Because Earth had changed dot. It wasn't a planet anymore. It was a message. The Zeranth believed Earth couldn't reach them. There, homeworld Veltar Prime was deep in protected space surrounded by fleets, guarded by satellites, hidden by Nebulae. They called it the Throne Star. No outsider had ever touched it. But Earth was not just an outsider now. Earth was a storm. Hook, first 5 to 7 minutes. On Veltar Prime, morning began with celebration. Zeranth generals drank wine, laughed, and shared stories about weak humans. They didn't know that 300,000 kilometers above them, a piece of debris drifted silently through the nebula. A rock? A lost satellite? No doubt it was Athena's IA human stealth drone, cloaked and waiting. And it had been there for 3 weeks at 4:23 system time. The drone's eye blinked once. The sky cracked. 2 Zeranth communication towers melted in blue. Plasma strikes. Seconds later, every security screen on the planet went black, then flashed white, then played a video. A message from Eartha, simple video. Just clips. Humans buried under rubble, children hiding in fire-lit ruins. A soldier, Ilara. Voss looking directly into the camera. You invaded our sky. You called us prey. But you forgot what prey does when it learns. Then silence. Then explosions. Human stealth pods hit the surface. Across Veltar Prime. They didn't carry soldiers. They carried code. The kind that made ships fall from the sky. Kind that turned weapons against their masters. The kind that made every Xeranth satellite self-destruct at once. In space. A Xeranth admiral screamed. How are they here? How did they get past our firewall? A screen blinked. And a human voice answered. You built walls. We walked through them. On the planet's surface, elite troops ran through the palace. They tried to protect the Emperor. But every door closed in front of them. Every hallway locked. Then the lights turned red. And from hidden speakers, a calm female voice said, This facility is now under Earth command. Xeranth pride shattered. The Emperor of Veltar Prime stood before a silent crowd. No words. No speeches. Just a cold truth. The humans had reached them. With no fleet. No army. Just brains. Just revenge. Other empires watched in horror. What kind of species does this? Asked a Thalari ambassador. One answer came. A species with nothing left to lose. Back on Earth in a frozen mountain base, Commander Ilara Voss stood beside Athena's control core. The room glowed blue. A young soldier asked, We got in. What now? Ilara answered simply, Now we remind them who we are. They launched. Phase 2. Human drones dropped black banners over alien government buildings in space. Audio files replaced official broadcasts. Each message ended with one phrase. You thought we were simple. You were right. And simple is dangerous. For the first time in history, Xeranth citizens protested their own empire. They took down flags. They refused to send soldiers. They marched in silence, covering their mouths in mourning cloth. One alien mother held a sign. Earth bleeds. We remember. The Xeranth Empire had always hunted others. They were fast, brutal, proud. They called themselves the Claws of the Stars. But now, they looked over their shoulders, because something was hunting them. Hook, first 5 to 7 minutes. A massive Xeranth. Cruiser, Dreadforge, floated above a broken moon. Its soldiers were trained. Its shields were up. Its scanners clear. Then one by one, crew members started disappearing. No screams. No alarms. Just ... gone. In their place. A human coin. On one side, Earth's symbol. On the other, a single word. Remember. At command. Central. General Tharn watched with shaking hands. How are they inside the ship? He barked. Nothing breached the hull. His officer replied. Tharn opened a report from another ship. Same losses. Same coin. Then another. And another. The humans weren't just fighting. They were inside the Empire. Collapse from within bases powered down. Communication lines went dead. Leaders were vanishing. The galaxy's most feared empire was breaking not. In war, but in fear. Across alien news channels, whispers turned to headlines. Xeranth command? Compromised? Earth tactics? More than war? Who's next? One frightened ambassador said it clearly. They are not attacking. They are unmaking us. Psychological warfare continues on the Xeranth colony world Vateran. Children refused to sleep. They heard voices through the walls, not ghost stories, recordings of Earth's last screams. Sent directly into their dreams by Earth drones. Mothers begged the Empire for peace. No more. Stop this war. But it was too late. Because now, Earth wasn't fighting for land. They were fighting for truth. Back on Earth, Commander Ilara Voss stood in the ruins of Washington, D.C. No one celebrated. No flags flew. She looked up at a screen showing alien surrender messages. "We're not winning," she said. "We're just making them feel what we felt." Retaliation hits the Corexorth Prime activated its last weapon, the Eye of the Crown, a planet-killer beam. They aimed it at Earth's last city, but the countdown failed. Earth had already hacked it. Instead of firing, the weapon exploded in orbit, destroying their own moon. The entire galaxy watched. Even enemies of Earth stayed silent. One rebel group on a nearby planet painted these words on a wall: "Earth was supposed to die." Instead, Earth became this storm. Final moments of Part 5. The Zeranth Council met in the shadows. Fewer than half remained. Their voices were no longer proud. "We started this," one whispered. "We called them prey." A younger voice added, "And now we beg to be ignored." But Earth did not answer, because Earth had no interest in ruling, no interest in talking, only remembering. In one final message broadcast across the stars, Athena's voice returned. "You studied us. You poked our wounds. You tested our silence. Now feel it. This is not revenge. This is balance." The war was over, but Earth never signed a treaty, never asked for peace, never demanded compensation. Because Earth didn't need to. The galaxy had already changed. Hook, first 5 to 7 minutes. In the Grand Senate Hall of the Zoran League, hundreds of alien leaders stood in silence. Screens all around showed the same message. Earth, offline, unreachable, silent, not destroyed, not erased. Just watching from the shadows, from orbit. From old ruins. A new ambassador, a young alien girl with shaking hands, stood up and said, "Can we speak to them?" Her elder replied, "We tried. We begged. They said nothing." She whispered, "Why?" Because Earth had spoken enough. And now it chose silence. The new history begins. The Zeranth Empire, shattered. There. Warships now monuments. Their generals, hunted by their own people. A law was passed on every world. Do not invade Earth. Do not challenge humans. Do not forget. Statues were built not of conquerors, but of human children, standing in fire, holding each other. Underneath each statue was one line: "You called them weak." Earth rebuilds in silence. Back on Earth, nature returned. Forests grew over broken cities. Wildlife walked through shattered malls. Rivers flowed where blood once ran, but no towers were built. No new flags raised. The world did not rise to lead. It simply healed. In peace. In silence. Ilara Voss sat in an old garden, beside a cracked memorial stone. It read, "To the fallen, to the forgotten, to those who remembered who we are." A young boy approached her. "Commander," he asked, "did we win?" She looked up at the stars. "No, we endured." The final transmission, one last human drone, floated through deep space. It entered the ruins of a Zeranth shipyard. No defense, no crew, just metal ghosts. The drone played a recording. "We were never your enemy, until you made us one. Now, remember us." Then it exploded quietly, leaving only Earth's burned flag drifting in the vacuum. The galaxy did not cheer. The galaxy did not celebrate. It learned. From that day, children were taught: never judge a species by its silence, never mistake kindness for weakness, ever wake a sleeping storm. Closing moments. Traveler once asked an old historian, "What happened to Earth?" The historian smiled sadly. "They didn't conquer us. They didn't rule us. They just showed us what fear really looks like and left us alone with it. Because the galaxy had poked a fragile world and uncovered something older than war. a species that never quits, a people that never forget, and a planet that, once broken, rises as fire